Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear excellencies, dear friends, dear partners. I'm happy to welcome you on today's meeting, our side event organized together with UNODC and with Filipino Embassy. We are very happy that we could join in this event, and the topic of our side event is the role of education in long-term crime prevention. We believe very much that the education starts in the family. We are all born in the family. We have our parents, and we are thankful for their care of us. We are thankful for our siblings, for our friends, our neighbors, and we learn to communicate with each other in positive way, helping each other, listening to the needs of each other, and very naturally we can develop our ability to help and to support each other for good for everybody, for happiness and satisfaction. Our founder teached us the challenges and problem of our days cannot be solved by the logic of power, only by logic of love. This is a question and also some challenge to us to understand what is this logic of love, how we can listen to each other. And we have just 50 minutes time, so we are happy to work together with other groups and to listen to good projects worldwide. First of all, I'm happy to introduce Mr. Deputy Permanent Representative and Consul General, Deputy Head of Mission of Republic of Philippines, Mr. Zoilo VELASCO, to you, and he will also give some remarks to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maria RIEHL, all the distinguished speakers here that I am happy to be part of, excellencies, colleagues, and friends. Good afternoon. It is an honor for me to address you today in this very important side event on the role of education in long-term crime prevention. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Women's Federation for World Peace for convening this timely discussion, especially in the context of the COP-UNTOC that is happening right now. The topic we are discussing today, the critical role of education in preventing crime and fostering peace, cannot be understated. There is enough empirical evidence and research undertaken on the inverse relationship between education and criminality. Education is not just a means to acquire knowledge, but a powerful tool to build a just, safe, and resilient society. Globally, we recognize that the roots of crime are multifaceted and complex, often rooted in inequality, lack of opportunity, and socioeconomic marginalization. Education in this regard offers a proactive solution. Education is an equalizer. By fostering values such as social responsibility, respect for human rights, and the rule of law, education empowers individuals and communities to resist the temptations and pressures of criminal activity, including organized crime. Preventing crime through education does not only address immediate risk factors, but also builds the capacity of future generations to resolve conflicts peacefully, to critically engage with the environment, and to contribute meaningfully to society. It is a long-term investment in a safer and more just world. Allow me to share with you the Philippine experience in this regard. The Philippine government has long recognized the pivotal role that education plays in addressing crime and violence, and I think just like any other country, it puts premium in education. And for us, it is enshrined in our constitution to have priority on education. Our efforts are anchored in the belief that education is a foundational pillar in nation building, one that is crucial to long-term crime prevention and peace building. For example, our Department of Education has integrated values of good citizenship, ethics, and respect for rule of law in our national curriculum in subjects such as values education and social studies. And some educational programs are designed to promote awareness about the dangers of substance abuse, cybercrime, human trafficking, and other forms of organized crime. We have a National Police Commission, which implements the government's 2024 National Crime Prevention Program, which includes programs for collaboration with educational institutions to equip students with knowledge about crime prevention and crime reporting. These efforts aim to educate youth about their role in safeguarding their communities from crime and violence. Specifically in the area of combating drugs, a key element of our approach is we have this so-called updated Philippine anti-illegal drugs strategy, which places strong emphasis on prevention through education. This strategy recognizes that to effectively combat the drug problem, we must empower our youth with knowledge and resilience. The Philippines has been at the forefront of promoting peace education as well, especially in conflict-affected areas. If, for those of you who don't know, for the longest time there's been an internal conflict in the southern part of the Philippines, which is in Mindanao. The peace education program, which was launched by our Department of Education way back in 2008, focuses on teaching children in these regions the value of conflict resolution, dialogue, cooperation as alternatives to violence. This initiative has contributed to breaking the silence of violence in regions historically affected by crime and conflict, as I mentioned in Mindanao. And now we have a peace agreement in that region, and education really had an important and crucial role in achieving peace in that region. The Philippine government is also actively engaged in international partnerships and initiatives that promote education as a tool for crime prevention. Through our involvement in the UNODC and other multilateral platforms, we are contributing to global discussions on strengthening education systems to prevent crime and violence. And we are happy that this side event is specifically on that topic. As we move forward, it is crucial that governments, civil society, and international community work together to individual has access to quality education, particularly those in vulnerable and marginalized communities. In closing, I would like to reiterate our gratitude for inviting us here and for making a commitment to education as a cornerstone of crime prevention efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Velasco. Now I give the word to our younger teammate in our UN office in Vienna, Miss Kyung van den Oliveira. She came from Holland. She works there as she is taking care of young children coming without parents to Holland. And she is looking for some foster parents for these young people. So she has lots of experience in the field of taking care of others, and now she will guide us through this afternoon program. So, Ms. Oliveira, thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you for this kind introduction, Mrs. Rio. Thank you. And a very warm welcome to everyone here and also at home. We're very happy that you could be present here today at our side event at the 12th session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Convention against Transnational and Organized Crime. Yes, we have a very beautiful panel again today, and we want to showcase great initiatives and projects from all around the world. We have quite some speakers. We have the bios on the tables, or if you're at home, we can also provide them later. So I won't give large introductions due to time limitations. And I'm very happy to firstly welcome our partner from Venezuela, Dr. Maria Gabriela de Tomasini. She's a medical doctor, and she will be talking on education and brain development. So, Mrs. Tomasini, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. First, allow me to acknowledge Mr. Zoilo Velasco, Deputy Permanent Representative and Consul General for the Philippines Permanent Mission. Also, to show my gratitude for the invitation to Women's Federation for World Peace UN office in Austria, to these amazing, unstoppable women whose mindset is true peace, true happiness, and true freedom for every human being in the world. To my fellow panelists, Dr. Susan KONE, who I think is not here, and right? Online, right? And Mr. Stephen Aiello, Mrs. Marlies Landstetter, sorry, and to our beautiful moderator, Mrs. Kyung van Oliveira, and of course to the UNODC representative, Dr. Vadid Malouf. Looking forward to being of help to expand the impact of this office. So let's get started by drawing your attention to the fact that human brain changes continuously to be able to provide us with amazing potentials. Thus, for us to develop those potentials, it is mandatory that we know of certain principles that have been evidenced in research. As you can see in this picture, please, I want to draw your attention here. It shows a visualization of the dynamic progression of human cortical brain development in a longitudinal study of healthy children and adolescents. We can see the changes in gray matter. Gray matter is a part of the brain that provides us humans with functions like judgment, organization, planning, strategizing, preventing, fidelity, respect. In particular, thanks to the neurons in the prefrontal cortex. And this is reflected in this study of fMRI, that's functional MRI, by the process of thickening of the gray matter, which peaks at about 11 in girls and 12 years old in boys. The study shows that maturation occurs differently. Back to front, that means that prefrontal cortex is the last one to mature, and bottom to up to top, right? That means that implicit urges for biological survival, that means lower order areas, are at hand all this time, and higher order areas are not at hand, but they develop at last. Obviously, the maturational sequence is more complex than that, but the important thing here is, and I quote unquote Dr. J. Gid, after the peak, the gray matter thins and excess connections are eliminated or pruned. And this research focuses on trying to understand what influences or guides the building up stage when the gray matter is growing, extra branches and connections, at what guides the thinning or pruning, it's like cutting phase when certain connections are eliminated. Today, we know parenting, teachers, society, nutrition, malnutrition, maltreatment, poverty, stress impact this process. As the American College of Pediatricians puts it, fortunately, parents can positively impact the brain development of adolescents as they assist in decision making, provide structure to the adolescent's environment, and monitor the adolescent's activities. Note that the pruning down phase follows the use it or lose it principle, meaning that those cells and connections that are used will survive and flourish, and those cells and connections that are not used will wither and die. Meaning in practical terms that if there is not the 3 T's, time, touch, talk, based on the right principles, we already know the outcome. So whatever the teens are doing, sports, music, academics, they are connecting their neurons and they're getting hardwired, ideally in parallel with the principled nurturing. They are molding their brain. They're sculpting concepts unconsciously, okay, and ways, and they're storing information also unconsciously by the hundreds. This is another study. So if they are lying on the couch or playing violent video games, how many did you kill? I killed 30. I win because I killed more. Or doing pornography. Those are the neurons and connections that will survive. The patterns of masturbation, if they do, that is what will survive. Remember that masturbation is centered on the self. It is self-serving. This is the pattern that will survive. The neurons for reading books, having dialogues, communication, informed conversations on harsh topics, because we need to learn to talk about harsh topics like this one. Structuring their lives consciously and intentionally based on principles, those will prune. We know now that our brains are capable of building trillions of connections. Now close your eyes for 10 seconds. Think of those trillions connections. Now open your eyes to those trillions connections, unprincipled, to those unprincipled trillions connections. On the other hand, we cannot expect children and teens to have adult levels of harmonious interdependence, including consensual activities, before their brains are finished being built. Think about decisions in the romantic area, in the love area. If adults are not even adults are safe in that area, right? Probably, maybe we could have lacked the necessary care and encoding during this period of growth. So people need to know what it means in terms of vulnerability, to introduce romantic issues, for example, in the period of growth. It will increase vulnerability. It's very vulnerable. The brain is full of dopamine because synapses, which is the connection between neurons, are happening. It can be perceived as appropriate because they have all the organs needed for engaging in sexual activities. But let's take what we said in the beginning to the sexual area. The fact that two bodies join for sexual activity can be human sex in appearance only, because humans are whole that naturally seeks oneness within, also known as integrity. So if one has the uniquely human potential to go for oneness within, integrity, but does not use the potential, which is only human, you tell me about it. So to make it simple, DNA is like a software, like PowerPoint. I use PowerPoint for this, for showing the neuroscience and realization. Other people use it in other ways. So is the DNA. DNA is like a biological software. I call it the one in the central nervous system, neurobio software, and contained in the neurobio hardware, right? Do you get it? Okay, so why do I want this to be thoroughly understood? Because in humans, it is susceptible to be connected at will, meaning that we can take our freedom to choose to develop the potentials provided by our neurobio software contained in our neurobio hardware, connected to principles, not at random. One of the principles is that there are periods at which we are highly vulnerable, like the one we're talking about. And we need to connect properly during those stages. We need to grow first, to mature in a safe environment, ideally home. So knowing that high order association areas mature only after lower order regions have matured, let us know that if we don't take time to connect everything that emerges from the lower order regions during childhood and teenagehood, we are in the hands of biology encoded in those regions. We are trapped in a neurochemical web. We are trapped in neuroconnections where the dominant opinion for decision-making is the lower order areas. That is, Freudian motivations or urges, subcortical or implicit proposals that will lead to form implicit logic or lower order logic and reasoning. We would be wasting our uniquely human higher order areas if only humans have it. To me, it sounds like a call. It's a biological call. It's a spiritual call, but it's a biological call to take our freedom to choose, to create freedom instead of slavery to these lower order proposals. Acting out on our unintentionally, unconsciously, or randomly connected lower order brain realms, the ones that are not uniquely human, is a proposal to encode universal principles in higher order areas, uniquely capable of that, and connect intentionally and consciously our lower order areas to those principles to live a uniquely human principled life with uniquely human principled outcomes. This is our proposal. So they're telling me I have to finish. So to conclude, I will share with you a functional nomenclature that I created for 3 areas of the brain. The area that creates synapses, that means connections, without us knowing, completely unaware, responsible for habituation and automatism. And the other area, I called it what's there for me area. This is the reward seeking area, right? And this synapses for self-serving culture. Okay. And then we have another area that I call it synapses for us. And there are different levels in for us. Us is different. So this is the area for co-prosperity, interdependence, and universal values. This is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which we said is at the end when it is formed. So if this area is the last to be able to mature biologically, as this study shows, then if the human individual wires for romantic love, for business, the way to conduct finances, for politics, the way to deal with society, before this area is activated and connected to principles, guess what? It's going to be self-serving, right? It's going to stay in the self-serving realm. So our proposal is to reverse dominion, taking time to grow until synapses for us, functional proposal, is possible to form in order to live a principled life, serving both the purpose for the whole and for the individual, to create interdependence and co-prosperity consciously and intentionally based on universal principles forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. de Tomasini, for this very detailed explanation how education is important for the brain development and how you stimulate and how it success. Thank you. I'm not going to repeat. Thank you so much for your contribution and for being here. Thank you so much. So we will move on to our colleague in Kenya. She has prepared a video. Mrs. Susan KONE from the Women's Federation for World Peace Kenya, and also the Vice President of the Women's Federation for World Peace Africa. And she will be talking about the impact of character education on society and on the role of crime prevention. So we'll first play the video, and then we will conclude with some points of impacts.
Greetings and gentlemen, and also to our distinguished presenters. I would like to start with thanking the Women Federation International UN Vienna office for this invitation. My lecture today will be on the impact of character education. Character education curriculums cultivate positive character traits, values, and principles. This creates healthy habits and behaviors, and it assists the youth to learn ethical and moral skills beyond the confines of a classroom. It fosters resilience and self-confidence from an early age, and also promotes increased well-being in a person as a result of embracing positive and social attitudes. To educate a man in minds and not in morals is to educate a menace to society. This is the words of President Theodore Roosevelt, who said that moral education is very important in a man. Character education embraces the virtues such as altruism, self-control, service, generosity, fair-mindedness, forgiveness, humility, all living for others. It starts from an early age, and there is a dire need to promote a comprehensive approach to character education, which focuses on universal values and core ethical principles common to all cultures, advocates that the family is the first school of character education, stresses that the school has an active role to play in character formation, also underlines the need for the community to be involved in bringing up the youths and prepare them for their future lives. Where does it all begin? It all begins in the family setting. The parents and close relatives play a very crucial role in shaping the lives of the youth through teaching character education. The family is the first institution of education for children, and young lives are shaped from that fragile level. The impact can be felt in the home, when the child is helpful, honest, and respectful to the parents, siblings, and those around them. In the community level, there's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. So the early years of the youth are shaped by what they see at home. The parents can easily detect the vices and correct them early, and also encourage the virtues. The school community is crucial in shaping the children from the young age and orienting them towards the path of excellence by balancing both the character education and the formal education. Good character impacts a good environment in the schools and all the various establishments in the community. It promotes partners in peace building, harmony between families and communities, and development in general. For example, volunteering in environmental projects, farming, and all other programs which affect the community. In some village settings, there are cases of the youth of good character taking care of the security of the elderly and the families, keeping peace in the villages, and volunteering in development and service programs. Also, character education does affect in choosing or voting the leaders in all levels, as it depends on the mindset of the voters and their choices of leadership by the values they embrace. In the school, there is character education, which is very important, lectures, and it does affect the integration of the youth in the school community. The character of the students decides the image of the school. It also affects the studies of the students in a class environment. Discipline is a virtue which assists the youth to align and set up rules and regulations, thus providing space for growth and excellence in schools. In the nation, character education does affect good governance, peace, and development. The youth's participation in national initiatives is a big boost to all sectors in a nation. This enhances innovation, creativity, self-drive, and good leadership. Youth with good character can be positive contributors to the nation by advocating for human rights and also keep the governments on check. And as leaders, they can drive the agendas which benefit the whole community or a nation. In the global level, character education also affects the global community. Youth as the leaders of tomorrow have their space of deciding and shaping the future. Their vision should be global and guided by universal principles of peace, love, and harmony, forgiveness, service, to just name a few. Especially in the case of youth as influencers, they play an important role in the global outlook of many aspects of human existence. So it's important that they are guided by the virtues of good character. In leadership, the impact of good character is felt in every level of society as it affects decision making, in governance, priorities, and many aspects in the nation and even in the globe. We have a pilot program in one of the countries in Africa, that is Kenya, a secondary school called Marakwisi area. The school principal and the teachers noticed a change of attitude and less cases of general misbehavior, more focused on the studies. So there was improvement of the overall grades of the students. And there was less cases of unwanted teenage pregnancies during school vacations and less absenteeism from the school. There was more happy and peaceful school community as students were aligned with the rules and regulations. The school principal recommended that we hold these seminars in every semester, that is 3 times a year, as the school community could appreciate the impact of character education in their establishment. Who is a person of good character? He or she becomes a person of mature character and integrity when they serve and live for the sake of others. And they develop also healthy and loving relationships in and out of the family. Makes a positive contribution to society and the global community, and also contributes to peace development in a nation, and becomes a global citizen in the world better. So this is what I could share with you today, given the time. We have our email, we have our number, the phone number, and also our website. We can have as many conversations as possible so that we can make this world a better place. And we are ready to partner with you and also to have more forums so that we can actually use all the skills that we have to make this world a better place. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. KONE, and thank you for being with us online. Dr. KONE wants also to share some impact points that this pilot had at the Handau Secondary School. So I will read them. So the impact points were that more than 600 students received this education every year. The school administration appreciates the positive impact that the education has on their students. In the meantime, you'll see some pictures of their recent activities. This includes general good behavior and also improvement of overall school grades. The character education program also created a conducive environment for learners and teachers. This impact has improved the image of the school as well. The guidance and counseling department of the school finds it easier to deal with the students as the character education has changed the mindset of many of the students over the years. And there are success cases of students who have excelled to university level and are now working as professionals. So in the grassroots settings, there have been feedbacks from community leaders that many of the youth who have attended the sessions on character education have changed their lifestyles positively and are now able to navigate their lives without being involved in vices like drug and alcohol abuse and criminal activities. So that was from our Women's Federation chapter in Kenya. Thank you so much. And also I want to acknowledge our partners who are here also today from Kenya, who were on the panel last time, online, but now in person. So thank you for being here as well. So we continue to our next speaker. And we are very delighted that Mr. Valouf is here again with us from the UNODC. He is at the Prevention, Treatment and Rehabilitation section and is also creating great programs. Last time he was with us and spoke a bit about their program on strong families. And this time he will present CHAMS, Children Amplified Prevention Services. And it has more like a multisexual point of view. So Mr. Valouf, thank you for being with us and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the invite, Madam Moderator, and for the Women Federation for World Peace for the invite again. And I guess my presence in drugs, crime, and now in the organized crime forum reflects how prevention is really, when this person focused, goes beyond just the thematic, but really is related to building a generation that's resilient to many outcomes that we see. So, in terms of, yes. So, for us, when it comes to organized crime versus prevention of crime, violence, and drugs, like the domain I work, organized crime is a context where, in most of the time, it's the offenders that are, defines it what it is, and it's the context of organized that is different than the actual prevention of crime that we do, and at the same time, it is also the element of this group of entities that are part of the organized crime are trying to make profit out of the crime. So that's the general context we're working in. Whereas when we do prevention of drugs, violence, and crime, the context is more defined, and we're trying to kind of prevent something from occurring based on a resilience or based on a vulnerability that is built within the person. The approach are different. Because of course organized crime require more normative approaches in terms of preventing organized crime from happening, but there is a strong element of how our work on drugs, crime, and violence contribute to preventing organized crime from happening, because at the end of the day, organized crime groups infiltrate governments, infiltrate public institutions, but also rely on individuals within these communities that really sort of perceive the fact that the presence of these parallel structures in a way makes it also profitable to them, without accounting for the fact that this would carry also consequences on their nation's economies, the nation's development and the nation's growth. So the element that we do in terms of our prevention on drugs, crime, and violence contributes to building that citizenship that has been mentioned before, that kind of build a resilient structure around the potential loopholes that these organized groups can benefit from. So in a nutshell, what we do in terms of prevention, we don't focus on the outcome, as been mentioned before, but we focus on the person. The person within their genetic makeup, within their who they determined, who they are as people from inside, their mental health traits, their reactivity to stress, their cognitive abilities, who they are, and how they interact with their structures around them in terms of support, the family and its functionality has been mentioned before, the schools, educational sector, and the community. So, and these structures also are in a larger environment. So imagine a family that's raising their children in the context of displacement, war, challenges, violence, and the community level is different than another family. And the same thing with the educational sector. The presence of organized crime, the presence of crime, presence of violence at the community, all of these have an effect on the individual and have an effect on these structures around the individual. So when we see that holistic picture, that what has been mentioned before in terms of that village that needs to be taken place, much like organized crime cannot be tackled by one nation itself and require many nations, and that's why we have this convention in place and all of these groups coming together to discuss. There is no sector within the government that can deal with crime, violence, and drug prevention. It needs a multi-sectoral approach. And that's the message that I wanted to add to the value of the panel that will mention a lot in terms of crime prevention. But yes, the educational sector is key. We heard about the family sector and the social sector is key, but there needs to be an intersectoral effect to really build a resilient community moving forward. And this is precisely how CHAMPS as a model was put in place. What do we know from prevention? We know that, first of all, one evidence-based prevention approach, if faced with another prevention effort, for example, we're working with the family sector as a family skills, and we're working within the school in terms of building life and social sector, one and one do not counteract the effect of the other, but they have a multiplicative effect. So if one gives you 2 points, the other one gives you 2 points, the joint effect on the person receiving this benefit of these two services is 8 points of prevention. The more you add preventive interventions in different sectors and in different ages of development and accounting for the different contexts these people are living in, the more multiplicative, the more amplification of effect you have. But adding more and more intervention is not the only thing. What is also needed is a system, meaning who is providing these responses? The qualifications of the prevention human resources that are there, the investment in these resources, the legislations that exist, the sustainability of these resources that exist, the structure. Any structure that is not qualified to provide these evidence-based approach cannot really give you the optimal effect of these preventive interventions, and at the same time can be counterproductive. So this is why UNODC has been working on setting up and helping countries moving beyond just like these individual interventions that I'm very proud of, including the family skills programs and the life and social skills program, but try to set up systems of prevention, bringing these sectors together and seeing how much there will be amplification of effect when these different sectors share a common vision of how prevention should be put in place in order to, Dr. TOMASINI mentioned, for that brain socialization of that child growing up, benefit from these different sectors working together as a village. CHAMPS is Children Amplified Prevention Services. It aims at setting up models of systems within different countries to showcase with these governments that when you, as different sector, come together, mapping out what you have for the children and their development from birth onward, how much you have not accounted for in terms of services you already have, because you're focused on the problem, not on the person. When you focus on the person, you see that there are many services that you could have benefited from. And when you align these services to standards of what works and what does not work, you kind of push your resources in a more effective way. And when you come together, you avoid duplications and you move and amplify the effect of prevention. So this is SHAMS in a nutshell. Unfortunately, you will not see it on the slides, but we have a dedicated website for that. And if you simply Google UNODC SHAMS prevention, you will come to that page where you have the leaflet, where you have a booklet and a framework for this. And then I'm here, and feel free to drop me an email whenever you need to get more information about it. But we hope we can work together in terms of moving from these individual intervention to systems of prevention globally, because we deserve an amplified effect of prevention. And that's was one of on the World Drug Day, our slogan for the World Drug Day. Invest in prevention, the evidence is clear. And we're not discussing drugs, we're discussing prevention from a person-centered approach. So I'll stop.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Wolof. Thank you so much. Thank you very much and for also joining us and contributing to highlighting the necessity of systems of prevention. Thank you so much. Then we move forward to our next speaker, all the way from Israel. We're very happy that he could join us, Mr. RIEHL. He's a founder and director for Debate for Peace, and I will immediately give the floor to you. Very welcome.
Thank you. With Israeli and Palestinian teens facing unthinkable trauma over the last year, we focused on bolstering empathy. So today we're going to hear from 4 courageous girls. The first 2, Madyan and Zohar, are empathy storytellers. So Zohar, a Jewish Israeli, is going to be telling the story of her Palestinian Muslim peer, Madyan, and Madyan is going to be telling Zohar's story. After that, we'll hear 2 members of the Writers Matter program, which was led by Professor Vogel. Maya and Quds, a Jewish Israeli and a Palestinian Muslim, will read a powerful piece that they co-wrote to highlight the human suffering on both sides of the conflict. Although the writing is fictional, it reflects the emotions that both girls feel and the common language that they learn to express themselves together.
I'm Adam. I'm going to tell the story of Zohar's grandmother, Debbie. In memory of Debbie's life and the stories that deserve to be remembered, this is the story of a family with generations of roots in Tunisia before branching into Morris and Mona, Debbie's parents. With love and compassion, they brought 8 souls to life. Debbie was the closest to her father, Morris, a man of wisdom, a successful national journalist with a strong commitment to his family and work. Hand in hand with Mona, they showcased all aspects of a warm home with food and flower fragrances wafting around. Their happiness was soon overshadowed by the rising tide of anti-Semitism. In 1960, Morris expressed opposition to a government that oppressed his people. Facing hostility and the risk of harm by the authorities, Morris and Mona decided to leave it all behind. Uncertain, frightened, and relying on hopes for a safer future, they sought refuge and a new life in Israel. Many hardships later, they arrived in Israel by ship, moving to a southern town called Kiryat Gat. Their new reality was not what they expected. The Israel they arrived in was shockingly not the heaven they desired. Plunged into cruel poverty, they struggled to make ends meet in a land that was both foreign and unforgiving. Morris attempted to proceed with his career in journalism. When this door was shut, another door opened, and Morris found a job at a local bookstore. Sadly, Morris left this earth less than a year later. Mona, heartbroken by the loss of her husband, never remarried. She channeled her love and energy into her children and her passion for flowers. She was a resilient woman who found joy in the simple pleasures of life, caring for her garden and bringing her family together. Debbie, still so young and forced to step into a role far beyond her years, she discovered her talents in the fashion industry, and dressmaking was a lifeline to the rest of her family during those dark times. Moore's death left a void in Debbie's heart, and their memories of him never faded, especially the hours spent binding books in the library. Soon after, Muna was also called back to God. Debbie, that young orphan branch of the family tree, found a world to grow. She wrote articles for the local newspaper and studied at Betsukolov, a high school for journalists. In 1976, she found her own way of love with Abi, a Moroccan man who shared her values of hard work and family loyalty. 5 branches stemmed from them, each one a testament to the love and dedication that defined their relationship. Debbie's life was a tapestry of love, creativity, and strength. She balanced her professional ambitions with her role as a mother, ensuring that her kids grew up with the values she held dear. And even after Grandma Muna passed away, she continued to uphold the values and traditions her mother had instilled. On February 27th, 2018, dear Debbie passed away. Every year, Debbie's 5 children and 9 grandkids gather in her sanctuary by the sea in tribute to the woman who overcame so much and gave even more. In her memory, they are filled with the sounds and smells of a life well lived, the clatter of rumi tiles, the scent of couscous, and the shared stories of a family bound by love. Debbie's story isn't just a family tale. It's a story of perseverance in the face of adversity, of holding on to hope when all seems lost, and of finding joy in the smallest of things.
Hello, I'm Zar, and I'm gonna share Marianne's family story. Love is our quiet strength, which helps us see the world from a different angle and makes life's challenges a little more bearable. In 1948, at a time of great upheaval, Hassan, Marianne's great-great-grandfather, lived in the village of Aran. Hassan was a figure of remarkable resilience, a pillar of strength for his family, including his son, Hassan, and his 1.5-year-old grandson, Naya. Their tranquil village life was disturbed when a family from nearby, the Tua, arrived with grave news. Jewish soldiers had begun to move towards them, threatening to displace them. As people from neighboring villages like Ein al-Salah began to flee, Hassan took a stand. He urged his family to remain, saying, "It's either I kill you or they kill you. No matter what, we don't leave." His resolve was unshakable, and despite dangers, his family hesitated to defy him. Eventually, the situation got worse, and Hassan agreed that the family needed to relocate to a nearby area. Just as they neared safety, Halima, Hassan's granddaughter and also daughter, realized her young brother Naif was missing. She urgently informed Hassan, who, despite her concern, decided that their priority was to ensure the safety of those who were already in. God will protect them, they assured him. Halima, however, could not bear the thought of abandoning Naif. With great courage and determination, she ventured back to the village, undeterred by the risks. She found Naif alone, in distress, and brought him safely back to the rest of the family. In the years that followed, Naif grew up and found his life partner. By 1968, he was married with 11 wonderful children, one of whom is Marianne's mom. The family story of Marianne is one of enduring hope and love that finds families through even the most challenging time. Their experiences reflect a journey marked by resilience and a deep connection to their heritage, reminding us that even in the face of adversity, the bonds of family and the spirit of hope remain unbreakable.
It's Sunday morning. I wake up, drool on my pillow, sheet marks scattered across my body, face still puffy.
I turn on the TV to watch my favorite cartoon when unintentionally I see the news. I only linger for a moment.
On the news, they say it was them. How can I love them? They are the devil. How can I love them? My friend Muhammad lost his parents in 2014. They were killed by a bomb. Before that, he used to be the life of the party, his smile shining bright, laughter filling my ears any time I was around him. He loved to play soccer and play bananier and rumeda. He had a dream. He wanted to be a therapist to help heal souls, broken souls. He doesn't smile anymore. Only the pity smile he gives to people who say sorry for your loss. He now doesn't care about souls. He doesn't believe everyone has them. I threw a ball at him and said, come on, let's play. He kicked it back, like it was never a part of him, and said to give it to a kid who would enjoy it. I think I saw a tear fall, but I didn't say anything because kids were orphaned all the time. Looking back now, I would have hugged him and told him everything would be okay, but that was a lie and we both knew it even then. 10 years later, Muhammad was killed during the war. Then I knew it would never be okay.
My friend Yoav lost his brother during the second Intifada. He was always a quiet kind of kid and never let anyone fall behind. He loved to read books and to go to the beach. He said he was at peace there. Yoav wanted to write books and travel the world. Yoav is still quiet, but the kind of quiet that you notice. Kind that comes from people who lost the will to say anything. He doesn't read books because his brother was the one to bring them to him. I don't remember the last time I saw him holding a book. Yoav doesn't come to the beach anymore. I wonder if he even has a place for peace. He doesn't travel. I think he feels guilty to travel when his brother is 6 feet under. Looking back, I would have hugged him and told him everything would be okay. But that was a lie and we both knew it. Even then, 20 years later, Yoav was killed at the Nobel party. Then I knew it would never be okay. Sometimes I wonder how you expect us to not hate the very people who took everything away from us.
Muhammad, even when he didn't get to be a therapist, he was my therapist. He never liked seeing me sad, so why leave? He taught me so much more and even showed me how to love myself. He used to help his mom and everyone around him. When he was killed, I didn't just lose my friend or my therapist, I lost a part of me. A big part of me is with him in heaven. Maybe he can be that part's therapist.
Yoav was everything to me. He was a brother. He wrote me little stories and helped me up when life got tough. So I leave. Yoav was a pure-hearted boy. He wouldn't hurt a fly. And now he's up in the sky. My dear Yoav, are you looking down on me, guiding and protecting?
Muhammad?
Yoav,
just feel, take a deep breath and let go.
Stretch your hand and lay your head on my chest over my arm.
Can you feel my heartbeat?
I can't feel yours.
Why can't I feel yours?
Can you hear me? Are you listening?
Are you there? Maybe if you don't have a rhythm, you can follow mine, the rhythm of love.
Love? I think I meant the rhythm of fear.
Eyes, beautiful eyes, left open when life went.
Ears clogged. Leave the ignorant bliss and educate yourself.
Stop hearing and start listening to me.
I'll own up to my part in our story.
Stop hiding.
You're not innocent, a victim maybe, but you played a hand in your own downfall.
Swear to God.
They spread the empty promises and lies.
Until those little white lies turned the tongue into black dust.
You promised a future, but Palestinians in Gaza failed to pass the age of 18.
Nation of children who never grow up.
You promised a place where I could be me, Israeli Jews massacred in their own country.
A nation that has been slaughtered since the beginning of time.
Our senses making us senseless.
Paralyzed in fear like a child abandoned.
Angry like the breeze slapping the trees.
Two sides. Always two sides, yet one only ever seen, and one you choose to see.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. So thank you for being with us and for your courageous work. It was a small part of the great projects that they are doing at Debate for Peace. And so we are aware that we're a little bit running out of time. If you could stay with us for our last speaker, that would be amazing. And definitely not the least. She is from the International Association for Youth and Students for Peace here in Vienna, Mrs. Marlies Latstetter. And she will be talking on the role of voluntarism in long-term crime prevention. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, dear excellencies. Actually, I have to say it's very hard to talk now after this video because I really feel this is the core, that people can talk to each other. I want to really talk about what is the role of voluntarism in long-term crime prevention. Sorry about this. As we can see, crime is really a challenge that affects individuals, families, and the whole society. And it affects, like we can see, not only communities, but regions and the world itself. It creates fear, undermines trust, and disturbs social harmony. While law enforcement plays a critical role in crime prevention, we can recognize that crime prevention is not only, it requires more than policing. It demands a collective, proactive effort, and this is where voluntarism comes in, a force that is a potential to really transform our society from the ground up. At its core, voluntarism is about people coming together for something that supports something larger than themselves, just as we could see there in this wonderful project. When it comes to crime prevention, volunteers can really be a powerful source. Study shows that communities' engagement through volunteer programs can really lower crime rates by fostering a culture of vigilance and shared responsibility. By investing the time and energy into programs that promote social cohesion and empowerment, volunteers can help to create environments where crime is less likely to occur. Here, I really want to also emphasize the role of mentorship. I want to emphasize that it's a really volunteer-driven crime prevention is working with young people. Many crimes are committed by young individuals who really feel disconnected from society, and researchers suggest that when youth lack positive role models and structured activities, they are more likely to engage in criminal behavior. Volunteer mentors are intervening at this pivotal stage. By offering guidance, friendship, and a listening ear, they can help steer youth away from harmful behavior. Programs that match at-risk youth with adult mentors have shown significant success in reducing delinquency. These mentors can offer a sense of belonging, also like the feel that you can teach life skills and open doors to opportunities that young people might not have experienced. This can also promote the development of future generations who feel valued, supported, and also who can connect more to their communities. I want to also emphasize the powerful aspects of volunteerism in its ripple effect. When volunteers engage in crime prevention efforts, it's not just impacting the people they're directly interacting with, but they're strengthening the entire fabric of society. Volunteering fosters empathy, responsibility, service, and integrity. It encourages individuals to take ownership and of their communities and to look out for one another. This sense of shared responsibility is key to creating a culture of prevention. When communities are strong and connected, they are far more resilient to the social connections and that often rise to crimes such as poverty, isolation, and lack of opportunity. In this regards, you have also some paper on your table I want to introduce quickly our organization, Youth and Students for Peace. We are an international organization, and I'm also representing Youth and Students for Europe and the Middle East. I would like to highlight that we are mainly part of volunteers, and one of our main project is the Peace Designer Program. Here we teach young individuals and youth to create their own peace project, and for example, through guiding them through the design thinking process, and they can tackle one of the challenges they can see in their society or in the community. And we are really focusing this Peace Designer Program on the positive peace approach, which you might know, and we want to highlight these three peace perspectives. One is really on the individual level, peace within oneself, and then peace with our surrounding, which is the families, the peers, and also peace with our environment. Furthermore, we encourage youth to really transform these peace projects in their communities and to really foster and to really encourage also other youth to volunteer in the communities through sports programs, to service projects, cleanup programs. And here I want to show two of our chapters. This is one YSP Balkan, which over the last 2 years has educated 169 peace designers, and also they completed 4 peace projects in North Macedonia and Kosovo, and 4 projects are also on the way to be completed by May 2025. Here you can see also some projects. This is also, it's a partner organization with the University of Business and Technology in Pristina, and also in North Macedonia, in Tetovo. And here I also want to highlight one of our chapters is in Lebanon. And this has been one of the cleanup projects that they initiated the last 2 years at the shores of Lebanon. And recently they have been also now with the war situation, they have also given out food to refugees. So, and they have also developed different programs for the youth. They've also encouraged the Peace Designer Program and also other volunteering projects. Yeah, so what I want to conclude with is a call to action. I want to leave you with the thought: crime prevention is not solely the job of police or the government or the court, but it's more also the job of us all as communities and a shared responsibility. Every one of us has the potential to contribute to the safety and well-being of our communities. Through volunteerism, we can create a society where crime is the exception and not the norm. Together, we can build a safer and more just society, one where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and where crime is prevented, not just through enforcement, but also through engagement, compassion, and collective action. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Marlies. Thank you, Marlies, for your contribution, and our apologies for putting you in that position. Thank you for contributing. So I've been informed that we have still some time if we would like to have some questions and answers. We have here the contact details of all of our speakers today. So please don't hesitate to contact them if you want to have more conversation or information.